Yeah, I know. January is a slow month for movie reviewers, okay? This is the best I've got. So, Seth MacFarlane, known for Peter Griffin Fortnite, has come out with a new show based on hit movie and hit sequel, Ted and Ted 2, starring Marcus Wahlberg. I have not seen either of these movies, and usually, this would be something I wouldn't care about. If it came out in January, the people making it probably didn't care about it either. But then, it started getting some traction. People started posting clips of the show on Twitter, and nearly all of them were funny. There's this bit at the beginning of the second episode featuring, I guess, Jesus, and it was really funny. Recently, I've been trying to check out some more lighthearted, goofy stuff because I've been spending a lot of time getting up to my neck in psychological thrillers and depressing dramas, and to be honest, this was perfect. It's the dumbest thing I could possibly watch. I was even more convinced when I saw that the show was on Peacock for free, but turns out, no, Peacock doesn't have a free plan, they have a premium and a premium plus for whatever fucking reason. But by this point, I was too committed to watching the show, so I went back on Twitter and clicked through a few links that probably gave me several viruses until I found the show, and here we are. Let's get talking. The reason the TED show works is that it's very simple and digestible. You have 5 characters to pay attention to, and sometimes one of them is played for jokes throughout the entire episode, so there's not much to get lost in. If another character is introduced, they're usually either going to have one joke or just be an insane person. Cases where the person is both normal and important are very rare. Plus, every zany, wacky scenario the characters get into is typically played straight. There's an episode where the gang sits around a table discussing race relations with a toy truck. And that actually makes sense, considering not a single person in the show, even the pointless nobodies, reacts to Ted being a living, breathing teddy bear at all. Most of the time, this means you can coast through the plot without getting confused, as the logic of the world already doesn't matter, and all you have to focus on is a standard A plot with 2 of the characters, and a B plot with the other 3. What this also means is that there are a total of 2 things that matter, the jokes and the character relationships. The comedy in this show is actually good. I am confirming the rumors, this show is funny. I'm going to be comparing it a lot to Family Guy because some of the humor feels ripped directly from a Family Guy episode, but it fixes a lot of the problems with the modern episodes of that show. Firstly, it's more subtle. That doesn't mean it actually is subtle, but it's more subtle than Peter shooting Cleveland point blank, then Meg throwing up, then Peter shooting Meg too. Here, you'll get jokey one-liners in the middle of scenes that are quickly moved on from, meaning it's a quick laugh, and as soon as you're done laughing, you've moved on to something else. Not only is it efficient, but it's relaxed and charming. It makes me laugh, but it also makes me smile as if I'm actually enjoying myself. Say what you want about Seth MacFarlane, but he is undeniably good at voicing a teddy bear who is 51% sure he is the Lord Jesus Christ. The show also gets a lot of bits out of those insane situations that are played completely straight, which is predictable but pretty fun. At least once per episode, Ted will run into a crazy rando, and the scene will be absolutely absurd. This by itself probably won't get you, but then Ted will start riffing with whoever's with him, usually John, sometimes Blair, and I'm sorry, but it's great. Partly because Max Burkholder and Gloria Wiggum, who, by the way, are the same fucking age, are really good at playing off of a non-existent teddy bear. In a show with a lot of unexpected jokes, the characters acting exactly the same as usual when faced with an unreal scenario does work for me. The other side of things is the character relationships, which are always needed for sitcoms that have an emotional moment once per episode. The problem with these in Family Guy is that they're kinda terrible. Family Guy evolved into a show where everyone hates and actively wants to kill each other, which isn't as fun as the writers might think it is. Luckily, in the Ted show, the main 5 are mostly very likable and bounce off of each other well. Ted and John's inseparable bro dynamic is very difficult to fuck up, and they don't, making these 2 the most fun to watch in the entire show. Adding to that is Blair, who usually plays the voice of reason / straight man, but is easy to like due to her genuine care for the people in her family, and fun to watch when she joins the main duo. She and Maddie, the dad, have the most rocky relationship of the 5 because she's gay and he's a Republican, but even he, being a character that could easily be hateable and is mostly played for laughs, is shown to have a bit of decency and puts his family before his politics. Rounding out the cast is Suze, the mother, who is also mostly played for laughs, as the embarrassing mom archetype, but has multiple main roles where you understand how skilled she is as a caretaker, and how much she enjoys being a mother. By the end of the show, you'll relate to how much she just wants everyone to stop arguing. And with that, we've defined our 5 main characters who all work on an emotional level. Might I remind you that this is the show Ted, about a living teddy bear voiced by Seth MacFarlane. I think I'm just gonna stop setting my expectations anywhere for anything. With those pieces in play, this show is just enjoyable. The pilot episode is 50 minutes long, and shockingly, I didn't even care that much. The small interactions and the gags to share around are all over, allowing the show to be an easy, casual watch. Even if you're just gonna play on your phone or do some work, it's a nice background show. Sure, that might not be a highly esteemed compliment, but it's a compliment, and I have more compliments to make. The visuals of this show are pretty good. Ted himself looks great, and it actually gets to the point where him acting like a human and moving fairly regularly makes me not think about the fact that he's a teddy bear and everyone else is normal. It's also funny when they do visual humor based on how short he is, like the 2 shots in the finale where you can see Blair watching John from a distance, but in the second shot, it's revealed that the camera was just too high for Ted because he's there too. If I'm being honest, the visuals are a part of this show that I was expecting to be bad, and they aren't. This isn't high art or anything, but a Peacock show based on a fairly successful duology of stoner comedies. For that, it looks great. Unfortunately, I am going to end on a negative. The show is at its worst not when it's being emotional or when it's trying to teach a message, but when it's trying to be serious. These moments are very rare because a lot of the time the emotional climax of episodes will be during a scene where Ted and John are smoking shitty weed, but when they do happen, it's just a bit awkward. The best example of this is probably episode 6, which is getting a lot of criticism from people who hate gay, making it the lowest rated episode by far on IMDb. Personally, I just didn't think it was as fun. This doesn't persist throughout the whole runtime of the episode, but a few bits dotted around that feel a bit heavy-handed for the Ted show can take you out of the moment. If a season 2 of this show were to happen, I don't think I would take those parts out, but I'd maybe focus on them more heavily and really try to make them good when they rarely come around. So that's about all I have to say. It's the Ted show, so even though I liked it, it's 7 episodes of a teddy bear on drugs. You shouldn't expect a video essay. For real, I would recommend the show. If you like Family Guy Funny Moments compilations, you're likely to have fun. And if you just need a chill sitcom to throw on while doing something else, you may as well give it a shot. Despite it being only on Peacock, it's a pretty easy show to find. You could do what I did and go scavenging the high seas for links, or you could just go on Twitter and watch half the show there. I'll give Ted the Show a 7 out of 10, recommend it, and begin planning for the next Saturday. This is the week when Invincible Season 2 starts. I'm not coping, you're coping. It's gonna happen. For real. This is when I get my 4 weeks of free content, I hope. Anyways, goodbye now. Oh shit, by the way, this show ends with the O.J. Simpson car chase. That is unbelievable.